Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt, and on today's episode, we are finally doing it. I needed a couple days. Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Of course, I was going to put this out yesterday, but you know what? I wanted another day of reflection and kind of sitting on this movie since it's been so divisive and a lot of people either they really love it or they absolutely despise it, and doesn't seem to be too many people like in between that, or at least vocal people. And you know what, I'm a little nervous about putting this one out because I don't want to be attacked by all these very bad types of people who think that this movie is so terrible that they are signing a petition to get it removed from canon, which, by the way, I hate you if you are one of the 13,000 signatures on that. Like, come on. This movie, I'm going to say this right now. Star Wars: The Last Jedi is better than all three of the prequel movies. Easily. So therefore, if you want this movie, The Last Jedi, to be erased from canon, you should also ask the prequels to be erased from canon. Now, I get it. Every single person has set up these sort of standards and expectations, and they have tried to kind of theorize on what's going to happen in this movie, and everybody wanted it to be like Empire Strikes Back, to where it kind of just got really dark. Even I thought that this movie was going to go more towards that sort of Empire Strikes Back feel, at least in the movie. I didn't think there would be so much comedy in it, and Ryan Johnson delivered on the comedy aspect. I will say that. I actually understood the comedy, and I appreciated the comedy in this movie. I think he wanted to lighten it up a little bit because there were some parts that were really, really rough. And to be honest, it's interesting to see the comedy not being from a Han Solo type, or was there any comedy in the prequels? Let me think. Obi-Wan had some moments. I think Jar Jar Binks was really supposed to be that sort of character. But this time we get a lot from Donald Gleason's General Hux in there, which I think he was actually really great. His character definitely went in a different way than I was expecting it. You also have Finn and Poe, who have a lot of humor in this. And to be fair, they had a lot of humor in the first one. I just watched The Force Awakens, so I know this. Both of them were cracking jokes throughout the entire thing. Now to actually get to how I feel about this movie, I'm going to go into non-spoiler first and just get like the general feel of it, and then I warn you when I start getting to the spoiler part of it. So overall, I liked this movie. I thought that it started off really strong, and I loved the last 45 minutes of the movie. I really, really loved it. There are some parts that I did have problems with. I hated, actually, I won't say hated, that's a strong word. I disagreed and didn't quite care that much about Finn and Rose's storyline, because it didn't really feel like anything that they did meant anything and like really had an effect on the overall storyline. Which we'll go into detail more later. I do like Rose as a character, but there was something about her to where, like, when I watched The Force Awakens, obviously you gravitate towards Rey or Poe Dameron, or you really like Finn. Like, they have something that's very charismatic about their characters, but also something that, like, I think a person can see themselves in that character. And I feel like with Rose's character, it felt like they were trying to put in a fanboy type of character in the movie. Like when she first meets Finn, she's fangirling completely over him because he's a hero of the rebellion, or of the resistance, and I don't think it worked completely. And then their entire storyline was really just about developing the character of Rose, and then also having Finn make his final choice to, like, if he's actually going to fight with the resistance or if he's going to flee like he's been trying to do this entire time. So that's one section of this story. I'm going to kind of go into three sections. It's the Finn storyline, the Poe storyline, and then the Rey storyline. But I'm going to talk about the Rey storyline really quick. It's about her basically training with Luke Skywalker, who is Mark Hamill's so good in this film. And I can see how some people are like a little bit like weird about his character in this, but I loved what they did with Luke Skywalker in this movie. I liked that he was this grumpy old man who had jaded seems like the wrong word, but he has basically felt like he failed his whole purpose in life. And he realizes that he is responsible for making a monster out of a kid in Kylo Ren, Ben Solo at the time, and we don't find this out. Well, that was a bit of a spoiler, but it wasn't that much of a spoiler. He feels like he is responsible for, I'm going to get in trouble for that one. Sorry, not editing out, don't want to go back. Well, anyway, I really, really liked what they did with that, and especially at the end, I loved how he basically did the most powerful Jedi thing that's ever happened, and I think it worked so well, and I'll go into that later in the spoiler section as well. And Rey was good in this movie. I do think I didn't know where they were going with her. I didn't know if they were going to keep her on the light or go over to the dark side. And I do like that connection that she had with Kylo Ren, because in The Force Awakens, Kylo Ren was really her teacher. Every time that she got good at doing something with the Force, it's because Kylo Ren had just tried using it on her. And so she basically just copied him. Like, she saw it and she's like, I need to do that. And then, she got really great by that. And so they do already have a connection. And you do have Kylo Ren as this person who you are not sure if he is going to be redeemable or not. And you think that he is, because in The Empire Strikes Back, when you learn that Darth Vader is Luke's father, you're like, okay, is this a redemption story that we're getting? And Kylo Ren, you just don't know which way he's going to go, because you want him to be redeemed, but then again, he also literally just killed his father in Han Solo, which I love all the callbacks to Han Solo in this movie. I do think I kind of missed him more than I thought I would. And I will say, I really like the way that Kylo Ren and Rey's story wrapped up in a way to where they're still on, you know what, I'm not going to spoil it yet. We'll get to that. Anyway, let's go to the Poe Dameron, General Leia, all of that stuff, the stuff on the spaceship. What's great is we got a lot more from Poe, because out of the three of like that sort of core trilogy type of characters that we got in The Force Awakens, he was the one we really got the least amount of. And in this one, you see that he is kind of reckless and stubborn and doesn't quite know how to lead. And I like this sort of learning experience that he has with this from General Leia, and also from Admiral something, played by Laura Dern, the lady with the purple hair, who I loved in this movie. I liked it because you kind of almost didn't know where she stood, and then at the end you're just like, God, she's badass. And I like the payoff at the end where he does actually learn from these characters that have either sacrificed themselves for him, or he's lost in battle, or just that he respects enough to listen to. Okay, now I'm going into spoiler territory, so if you've not seen the film, turn off now, or if you don't care about spoilers, keep watching. I don't care, I need the views. Here is a big problem with this movie, in my opinion. What I loved about The Force Awakens is that it kept jumping scenery, and like it felt big because it's Star Wars and it should be across planets and all this stuff, and you very obviously you see these different places. You see Jakku with the sand, and then you go to Maz's place and it's all foresty, and then you have the spaceships, and then you have the island at the very end with Luke Skywalker, and then you also have that snowy terrain that is on the Death Planet, or whatever it's called, the Star Destroyer, I think it is. And so I liked that. It felt big. This movie, it was too stuck on that damn spaceship. I was getting so sick of it. In my opinion, I would have much rather have at least been on terrain. Like, I like the idea of being able to track through light speed, but I wish it was on a planet that they were trying to get through. Do some really cool planet that we've seen in like Clone Wars, the series, or something like that. And they keep like sort of evading this, and they're getting closer and closer every time. You can do kind of the same type of thing, but do it on a planet, or like at least initially escape that planet and then somehow get tracked again, and then do this sort of like space thing where they're running low on fuel and they're following them, and they're just out of range for the missiles to really be in effect. Like, it really bugged me that we spent so much time in this small little contained space, even though I mean, obviously that's why they did the casino world. They got out, but everything on the casino world didn't matter to the whole plot. It did not matter. That's the thing that bugs me is I like the character development of Finn and learning about Rose, but the whole point of them going to this casino island is to get this guy who they don't even get, and they were planning on leaving without him because they got caught, and then they end up with Benicio del Toro's character, who's Slimeball, and like, isn't, God, whatever. And then they get onto the spaceship, and they don't even do what they set out to do. They don't do it. They fail at it. They absolutely fail. It legitimately drove me nuts. That whole storyline did. And, like, it made me, like, dislike Rose, which I don't think she's, like, a bad character. I just think that, like, I don't like the idea of putting in a fangirl type of character who just, I mean, she's cool in the fact that, you know, she somehow knows how to do all of this engineering stuff and, like, is really smart about that, which also, how is Finn so smart about what's going on the opposing team's ship? Like, he was a janitor, so I get, like, the fact that he, like, knows his way around, but how does he know all of this stuff? I just want a little bit more explanation into that. And honestly, it felt too meta to have a fangirl moment in there to where she's like, oh my god, you're a hero of the Resistance. Like, it's way too meta. I don't need that in my Star Wars. Like, please keep it out. I would have much rather her, like, just caught him trying to sneak away. And also, I didn't really like the fact that Finn was trying to sneak off. Like, I really didn't. I thought that we had gotten over that, which apparently we did not. I must have missed that. And it's just like, now he's finally decided that he wants to fight for the Resistance, which at the very end of the movie, when he was flying straight towards it, and he was going to give his life up for the greater cause to stop this Warhammer, I actually thought they were going to kill Finn off, because this whole movie was just like taking risk and doing all of these crazy things, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to kill him off. Which I was torn, because I'm like, first of all, that's brilliant in the twist factor. I never would have saw that coming, but also sad because I do like the character of Finn, and he has not been reunited with Rey. He's been developing a great friendship with Poe. Like, he could be a really good leader in the Resistance, and he's a great asset to the Resistance as well. So I was like totally torn on like what I wanted to happen. And then by the time like Rose saved him by crashing her freaking fighter vehicle into his, which is crazy, and then like to have that like weird moment where she like kissed him, like that felt like really forced and didn't really feel like it mattered to anything. And here's something I loved about this film was when Luke was astro projecting him into that fight with Kylo Ren. I thought that was genius, because when he got there, I was like, oh, he got a haircut. He looks a lot nicer. And then I was like, how did he get his lightsaber back? I thought that was destroyed when Snoke was doing that thing. I was really confused. And then it made more sense, you know, that he's an astro projection, and that was like super smart. And I like that sort of send-off of Luke doing the Yoda thing where he just kind of disappears and is crumpled to the floor as all of his clothes. And I'm somebody who I thought since The Force Awakens, of course this is before Carrie Fisher's death, unfortunately, I thought that each of these movies was going to kill off either Han, Luke, or Leia. Like, each movie, one of them was going to die. So I was not at all surprised at the fact that Luke died in this movie. I think that he has to, in a way. And I know that's probably going to get a lot of people angry, but oh well. And I'm going to say this, performance-wise, everybody across the board was amazing. I don't think there was a weak player in the bunch, in my opinion. But this movie was stolen by Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. Their best performances. I think every time that they were on screen, I was glued to it. I mean, Luke was just so tortured, and Leia was so stoic. Okay, that's all the time I have for you guys today. I'll probably go more into detail. Maybe I'll do an actual spoiler talk on this movie. It really depends. Like, comment down below if you want me to talk about, like, certain things, at least in this movie. Try to keep it a little spoiler-free, but, I mean, that's a little impossible. Anyway, if you guys want it, I'll probably do it. Let's be real. I want to talk about this movie more. And also talking about it kind of, like, you know, it kind of gets what I need to see this movie again. That's what I need to do. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, give it a thumbs up, comment down below. Subscribe. I make videos Monday through Friday. Also, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that jazz. And then, yeah, if you want, I'll make a spoiler review. Also, please be kind to each other in the comments. Jeez.